You're that broke, you need to steal $5?
Yes. You that broke, you need it back.
I believe NLE Choppa is the best thing to happen to modern rap. Yeah, again, sounds crazy, like why NLE Choppa, what's going on here? But I've had this opinion for a while, and I just thought I'd finally speak out about it and just address my points, say it all in a way that I believe, would make sense. Before I even get into the whole NLE Choppa thing, I want to clarify one thing and just say it, which is one misconception content consumers, people who consume content have, is the idea that people they look up to are the ones that they connect to the most. Inspiration, like someone who's seen as inspirational, that's all rooted in duality. So it's not rooted in this person's way up here. It's the duality of progress made through imperfection. You're not inspired by people who are perfect. You're inspired by people who have imperfections and either have progressed to a better state or progress in spite of that imperfection. So I was watching the Flagrant podcast and they had the Liver King on there, and Andrew Schultz said something really wise.
I think vulnerability is the only thing we can connect to as human beings. We look up to the person who seems infallible, but we don't connect to them.
No. So I think of my biggest inspirations. For example, Drake. The reason I find Drake so inspirational is not just because he's at top, but because he was in Degrassi and he was looked at as the uncool person, and he made his way to the top. He made his way to become one of the biggest artists in the world in spite of that. That's what makes it inspirational, because I sense the imperfection, and the imperfection within myself is found at home within him. Additionally, someone else I find super inspirational, KSI. It's not just because he's a YouTuber and a successful musician. It's because I saw where he came from. I saw how he started out, and to see him kind of glow up in this way and do all these things from being someone who is judged for being not only just a person in school, but also a YouTuber, being judged to make it in the music scene, and seeing him succeed in both facets. I saw the imperfection and I connected with it. Another note, Jack Harlow, he's actually one of the most inspirational people to me personally. He turned into a walking Riz god. He can Riz up everyone. Come on, Saweetie, Dua Lipa, what's going on here? This dude is crazy in a great way. But I saw how he looked in high school, and I know beauty's subjective, but the man glue up. It's pretty obvious. Those are 3 different examples I'd give of people I'm inspired by, and all of them are not because those people are perfect, but because I can connect with the imperfection that they have. Now I want to talk about something that's been going on for a while, which is this hate for mumble rap. For sure, around 2017, 2018 time, there was a lot of hate against rappers who are mumbling and not having meaningful stuff, talking about shooting and killing. And I had a perspective about this that I didn't hear about, which was we, again, connect with each other through flaws. So this stuff is actually good. This stuff about shooting, killing, doing drugs, all that is happening. It's happening in the real life, and a lot of people are just documenting what they're going through. Again, that's the imperfection, that's the flaw. And the 2 aspects of inspiration are imperfection and progress made in spite. And it's about the duality. It's not about perfection. People are already going through it. And those people who are going through it are going to connect with that music because someone had the confidence to express vulnerability in their flaws. But at the same time, a lot of these rappers who are talking about shooting and killing are actually promoting very positive and helpful things on the side. 21 Savage, he grew up in the hood, obviously. He's gone through a lot. He talks about that stuff in his music, but at the same time, he's promoting investing and being a positive role model to your community. You can tell by the other content he does. So if I just sit here and tell someone from the hood, yo, you should do better for your community, you should be XYZ, you should be what ethos do I have? I didn't grow up in that time. But if you see someone who's gone through the same things or similar things as you, advocating for the same message, it's going to have a lot more ethos and reach to those people. G Herbo is a great example as well. G Herbo has a program called Swerving Through Stress in his own community that's dedicated to mental health resources. So seeing someone who's talking about this violence, but at the same time talking about mental health, it's okay, so if I'm participating in this violence, I'm more likely to consider mental health. I'm more likely to group these 2 things together because I've seen them. And even farther reach of this is Young Thug wearing a dress. Young Thug also coming from the hood, and him having the confidence to wear a dress and embrace that when there's a lot of hate for a feminine portrayal of men, which Young Thug in that specific instance could go against. And I think that's super inspirational because, again, you're grouping 2 things together that people may not see as grouped. The bottom line I'm trying to create with this is flaws breed ethos. Again, I'm not going to have the same ethos as someone who's gone through similar things to speak to that person. I do have ethos in areas where I've gone through flaws and imperfection. People who've gone through those similar flaws can reach and relate to me more than other people. So now let's talk about NLE Choppa and why I think NLE Choppa is the best thing to happen to modern rap. NLE Choppa came out just like other rappers talking about shooting, killing with Shot of Flow. And it was fire. Like, I liked the song, of course. As he started to take time in the game, I think a year later around, he started to promote different values like spirituality, holistic medicine, and positive energy. We know that rap it's cool to be negative. It's cool to talk about negative things, and it's not as cool to talk about positive things. So he definitely took a quote unquote risk. He definitely was not as cool with this decision. And another reason he wasn't cool was there's been a recent type of thing with content where before like XXXTentacion, we had artists being super mysterious, not engaging with the YouTube scene. And then you had someone come in with a massive amount of success like him, X, and make his own YouTube videos, collaborate with YouTubers. And now you're seeing it to a higher degree. But at the same time, like NLE Choppa is one of the only people I see who's really going ham. Like he has his own vlog channel, collaborating with YouTubers, and he really is serious about it. He's super consistent. He was making weirder moves in two different ways, promoting positive messages, which is not seen as cool, especially from where he started. But at the same time, he had his own YouTube channel, which wasn't seen as professional in compared to other artists. It's cool to stay behind the scenes, and YouTube wasn't looked at and still isn't looked at as that respectable. But artists are beginning to collaborate and take more note of that. Again, this is also how he breaks stereotypes, like seeing someone like NLE start his own platform. This is not something you would expect. And the more what we expect from people gets broken culturally, the less stereotypes we have. Now we had NLE sitting here with two different things in his hand. One, he had the past that he had, where he talked about like shooting, killing, etc., violence, drugs, right? And then you have the future, which he's talking about positive messages, creating his own independent platform and promoting positive messages to his audience. This is where I think a lot of people make a mistake, where he couldn't just hate his past self. He couldn't just ignore it and push it away and try to be this person. Not saying that he wasn't this person, but his past self did provide value and does deserve to be loved just like his future self. So he had unconditional love for himself. And he's like, okay, even though this part of me did not quote unquote have the best messages, it did help me and help my family get in a better place and help me get a lot of attention. So if NLE Choppa abandoned his past self and just ignored it and completely moved on to what he's doing, then a lot of people who are in the same situation as him currently, or same situation as his past self, would feel like their feelings and their story, their vulnerabilities, their flaws are not validated or at least shared. That would prevent the progress from happening and him being able to take people who are in his past situation and help move them towards the positive path that he's doing right now. At the same time, he didn't ignore his light side because he wanted to still provide positive value. And I think the peak of this decision making for NLE is when he dropped this album called From Dark to Light. In this From Dark to Light album, it understands that you need the dark and the light. And half of the tracks are about, again, violence, shooting, etc. And another half of the tracks are about positive messages. So he's embracing the dark and the light and realizing that he needs both in order to breed the inspiration and connection among people. He needs to be able to pick up people, but at the same time, have a place to bring them up to. This is the message that defines true inspiration and why NLE is the best thing to happen to modern rap, because we didn't see people grabbing both sides. We saw people either trying to play perfect and be this perfect person, and they were people that others looked up to, but never ended up connecting to, because those are two different things. And we saw other people who portrayed these negative messages without any intention to bring people up. So seeing someone really focus on emphasizing the light and the dark that are both required for necessary inspiration to the youth can connect with people on a level that no others can. What I learned through studying NLE's career is you need both the light and the dark to truly inspire people and connect with people. NLE realized that and literally made an album with dark and light in the name, From Dark to Light, to embrace that. And that's why I think NLE Choppa is the best thing to happen to modern rap, because I don't see someone taking that inspiration, taking that channel of imperfection to connect with the youth as seriously as NLE Choppa is doing. So I want to give him his flowers. He's been doing great. Can't wait to see what he does next.